Hey guys, welcome to this channel weekly, and I'm Narik. In this video, we'll be talking about the common types of cybersecurity attacks, and the mode would be by mind mapping. You can download this mind map from the link provided below. So before we get into business, subscribe this channel and hit the bell icon so that you get updates of the latest videos that are being uploaded. So without any delay, let's get started. When you talk about the common types of cybersecurity attacks, there are brute force and dictionary attacks, malware attacks, phishing attacks, SQL injection attacks, cross-site scripting attacks, denial of service attacks, and man-in-the-middle attacks. So what do you mean by a brute force attack? Brute force attack attempts to determine a secret by trying every possible combination. So it features as something like the number of attempts is limited by the length and the number of characters to try. So the time to complete is greater, but there is greater coverage of likely clear text value. And what is dictionary attack? It's a guessing attack which uses some precompiled list of options rather than trying every option, only to try two options which are likely to work. So it's something like a dictionary or a possible combination. It may be based on knowing some key information about a particular target. The dictionary is more likely to include real words than that of some random strings of characters. Malware. Malware attacks are very common. Malware is a software which is designed to covertly operate on a compromised system without the consent of the user. So it is something which we call a malicious software, such as ransomware, spyware. There are many other malwares. So normally the criminal organizations, state actors, and even well-known businessmen have been accused of the malware. And the main objectives of malware is exfiltrate information, that is stealing the data, credentials, payment information, etc. So malware focused on this type of theft can be extremely costly to a person, company, or even a government. And the other main objective is to disrupt operations. So they actively work on causing some problems for the targets. So it might be something from a virus on a single computer corrupting critical operating system files. There are also scenarios where infected systems are directed to carry out large-scale DDoS attacks. We'll talk about DDoS in the future, in the part of this video. And also there's sometimes the demand payment. So some malware is focused on directly extorting money from the targets. So these are the main objects of the target. And there is different delivery models, something like Trojan horse, virus, and worms. Trojan worms are programs with hidden side effects. They are usually superficially attractive, and when we run the program, they perform some additional tasks. So it allows attacker to indirectly gain the access they do not have directly. So user is tricked into executing Trojan horse. And virus. When you talk about virus is a type of self-propagating malware which infects other programs, files, or even parts of the operating system of a target via code injection. So this behavior of malware propagation through injection itself into an existing software is a differentiator between the virus and a Trojan horse. So again, there are different types of viruses like parasitic virus, memory resistant virus, boot sector virus which infects the master boot record, stealth virus, it is a virus which is explicitly designed to hide itself from detection of the antivirus softwares. Polymorphic virus is it mutates with every infection, and metamorphic virus mutates with every infection and again rewrites itself completely to each iteration, right? So that is metamorphic virus. And finally the worms. So worms do not need any other file or program to copy itself. It is self-sustaining running program. So worm replicate over a network using some protocols. And once the worms are acting within a system, a network worm can behave as a computer virus, or it could implant some Trojan horse programs or perform any number of disruptive or destructive actions. And the next one is phishing. When I talk about phishing, it attempts to trick into divulging some sensitive or valuable information. So the attackers may target something like login credentials, financial informations. The phishing attacks typically engage the users with a message intended to solicit a specific response. That is something like your purchase order has been approved, or you might be able to see your bank site, something similar to what this attacker might have built. There are different types of phishing. One is spearfishing. When the attack is customized to a target, an organization or a specific individual, it is referred to as spearfishing. The second one is whaling. Whaling targets an organization's senior or C-level executives. And the last one is clone phishing. It targets are presented with a copy of a legitimate message they had received earlier, but with specific changes the attacker has made in an attempt to trap the target. Something like malicious attachments, invalid URLs. And there are different techniques like in phishing, like link spoofing, website spoofing, and malicious and covert redirects. The next one is SQL injection. When you talk about the SQL injection, so it's SQL. We call it SQL. SQL stands for Structured Query Language. So it's a programming language used to communicate with the database. So SQL injection attack specifically targets kind of a server which actually holds some critical data. So if the server stores private customer information from a website such as credit card numbers, usernames and passwords, so it attempts to get the data, and it is done by exploiting anyone who knows SQL vulnerabilities. There are different ways of preventing the SQL attacks, but we will be talking about those in the later videos. And the next one is cross-site scripting. It is similar to the SQL injection attack. This attack also involves injecting malicious code into the website, but in this case, the website itself is not being attacked. Instead, the malicious code the attacker has injected only runs on the user's browser when they visit the attacked website, and it goes after the visitor directly, not the website. So one of the most common ways an attacker can deploy a cross-site scripting attack is by injecting malicious code into a command or a script that would run automatically. And the next one is denial of service attacks. Denial of service attack present a significant security threat to corporations, and threat appears to be growing. So what it does do is that it attacks the computer system inaccessible by flooding servers, networks, or even end users with useless traffic, so that the legitimate users can no longer gain access to those resources. We also have some distributed denial of services. In this type of attack, a large number of compromised hosts are amassed to send the useless packets. So these attack methods and tools have become more sophisticated and effective, and it is very difficult to trace the real attackers. And the last one would be the man in the middle attack. So it is also called session hijacking. Normally when the session between your computer and the remote web server is given some unique session ID, which should stay private between the parties. However, an attacker can hijack these sessions by capturing the session ID and pose as a client computer making the request to gain access to the information on the web server. Again, there are different types of man-in-the-middle attacks like rogue access point. It is by the devices equipped with the wireless cards will often try to auto-connect to the access point. And ARP spoofing, that is address resolution protocol, is used to resolve the IP address to the MAC. An attacker wishing to pose as another host could respond to ARP requests. It should not be responding to with its own MAC address, right? So, and DNS spoofing, similar to like ARP spoofing. DNS resolves the domain names to the IP address. However, the attacker attempts to introduce corrupt DNS cache information to the host. And there is also MDNS spoofing, which is multicast DNS, which is also similar to DNS, but is done on a local area network using broadcasts like ARP. So this is the different types of cyber security attacks, and we'll be making a new video. Till then, sayonara.